be the new pacemaker, or the pacemaker, new for you. It's called a Biotronic. And just to kind of look at the different, so this is the protective shield here. If you can tell, just kind of comes off like that. But you want to definitely, when your patient comes back from the lab, you want to make sure it's on. And then just to go through the different buttons, this up here is an adapter that comes with the pacemaker, not this one. This adapter comes in the pacer box. This is permanent, non-disposable. And this just kind of goes in here. And then potentially you could paste two things, but we always have the atrial kind of taped off, and you can see the little V there. So you'd put this called a Remington adapter. The ones you guys are gonna see look a little bit different than this, but the Remington is gonna go in here. But all this is gonna be already hooked up, okay? So going on the different buttons, so in different dials. So right here is the mode, and you can see right there it says mode. And there's 3 different modes. The mode that you guys are gonna be using is the SSI, which is single chamber paced, single chamber sensed, and single chamber inhibited, okay? So this is the same as VVI on the regular pace, on the permanent pacemakers. So it's gonna be on there. Over here we have the rate, so this will be set at whatever rate, just like any pacemaker, you have to have a rate set. This here is atrial burst, which just we're not gonna use, so just kind of forget about that dial. And then over here we have our sensitivity expressed in millivolts and amplitude expressed in volts. On the Zoll, the transcutaneous pacer, the kind of the energy is expressed in milliamps, so that's another, but this is the same as the milliamps on a regular pacemaker, on a transcutaneous pacemaker. So the sensitivity tells you how sensitive the pacemaker is to the patient's intrinsic rhythm. So we want this is going to be like a backup pacemaker, right? So we want it to inhibit when the patient has his own intrinsic rhythm. Okay, so it kind of doesn't make a whole lot of sense, and you guys will not be responsible for setting these. They will come already set. But a higher number means it's less sensitive to what the patient's doing, because basically it can't see what's happening. Like if you think of 20 think of it as 20 feet in the air. If I have 20 feet between me and Noelle, right, I can't see Noelle. So if I can't see her, then I can't withhold my pacer spike. I'm just gonna do what pacemakers do, and I'm gonna pace. So the higher the number, the less sensitive it is. So you guys are most likely gonna have it around 2, maybe 2.5, somewhere in there. So you want it down low so that you can see the pacemaker can see the intrinsic rhythm, and if it sees it and it's at the right time, then it will withhold the pacemaker's, the pacing. So that's the sensitivity, and then like the amplitude is the energy, right? So like on the transcutaneous pacemaker, you probably go up to, if you've ever transcutaneous paced someone, it's like 60 milliamps, right? That's the energy it takes to pace. So on here, average kind of milliamps or voltage as they have it expressed here is probably, I don't know, between like 5 and 7. So somewhere on the low side. So that's the amount of energy it's going to take to make the patient pace when it needs to pace. So this senses when it's going to pace, and then this gives it the energy to pace. Again, same concepts as any other pacemaker. So these are all going to be set, and then over here we have our, let's see it here, the low battery light. So when the low battery light goes on, if it's flashing continuously with the sense and the pace, you have, I think, only a few more pacing cycles. When it goes on, if it's continually on, you have, I think you have up to 24 hours. A new battery gives you up to 24 hours of pacing at a rate of 70.
Okay.
So that kind of gives you a guide, but hopefully you guys are not going to be, your patients aren't going to be pacing that much.
And we'll always have a backup
And you'll always
on the unit.
have a backup.
And the new generators, when we get them, will have an internal battery.
Good. Okay. So the battery
Yeah.
pack here, it's just a D not D,
9 volt.
a 9-volt battery. This little blue thing comes off, put this down, and it just comes out. Goes back in. So
And the new one
the
will be
cath
doubling.
lab should put a new one in with each pacemaker that they are putting in. They should have a new battery in here.
So are you saying the battery lasts about 24 hours or only when?
It lasts 24 hours if it's continually paced
Gotcha.
at about a rate of 70.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we should anticipate changing this daily?
So
if-
yeah, I mean,
Also
I would only
close
change
to-
it if you get your low battery light,
Okay.
But
Yeah.
we'll have an extra battery or two.
and you'll
in
have
the
an
room.
extra battery. Yeah.
Now, when you're changing the battery, what precautions are you gonna take? You just,
You
'Cause
just change it out. It takes literally 3 seconds.
it's
You
not
just-
gonna affect
It doesn't
any-
affect the pacemaker.
okay,
You just
all
take
right.
it out,
So
put
it's
it
not
back
like the
in.
LVAD where,
No.
okay,
No,
okay.
that's a really good
You have to have a
question.
backup, okay, cool.
Yeah, that's a really
to
good
know.
question. Back here you have a little, like a hook, so you wanna make sure that this is secured, maybe on the IV pump or, you know, somehow that it's not gonna fall down. And then the wire, right, is gonna be just like a PA catheter wire. So before the patient gets up or at the beginning of your shift, you wanna make sure you're looking at that centimeter marking. And then because these patients are gonna be allowed to get up, which is different than any other pacemaker we've had. So you just wanna make sure that it's the same centimeter marking when they get back in and that they have some slack, right, that nothing's gonna be pulling on the IJ. So it goes through an introducer. It's a 6 French introducer, so it's a little bit smaller than the PA catheter cortices. But everything else is the same. You're gonna document on it the same, you know, as a central line, right? What questions do you guys have? In terms of documentation, in Epic, this is a little bit,
I'm gonna turn the video off.
yeah.
But if anyone would like the sheets that give more information on documentation, it's that black notebook over there, and we'll put we did put a label on the front. So that has info about the generator, the tempo pacer, documentation, as the policy in there, everything you need to know. Thanks, Paula.
Sure.